Hello guys, how are you doing? Be welcome to another tutorial here in the next two tutorials. Well, I'm Daniel da Costa and today we're gonna see how we can paint aisles into the ZBrush. I like to make this process because I can get an overall idea about the visual, the colors, if the visual it's combining or not, if it makes sense or not. Then I move on to Substance Painter and make the final texture there. But I like to make this test here into this ZBrush. And we're gonna continue with the num character. And just to remind you, you can get these cures on Skillshare, Stylized character sculpt in ZBrush. There I showed the full process to sculpt this character, the high poly from a sphere. We're gonna make the body, the anatomy, the clothes, the props, the hair, all the structure, the head, and here on Udemy too. So, well, check it there, guys, and let's go. Continue here, you can use just two simple spheres to follow this tutorial if you wanna practice. And basically, to start, I like to work with reflect. Let me see here, RGB levels or soft toy plastic, can be toy plastic. I like to work with toy plastic material and set white color here and subdivide 3 times, can be here to the aisles. And I like to use the standard brush and drag rect to start, and alpha I can use this alpha 58 because it's a little more sharpened cycle here without this transition here, this blur. So I can use this guy here. And is it? It's extremely important we have reference here always. So for example here, let me close these tabs. We have the Valorant visual. So basically Valorant aisles, it's a little different. It's a little the visual of Valorant, Fortnite, Overwatch. It's similar but are different structure. Basically here we have 2 reflections. So for example, we have this structure, 1 reflection and 2 reflection. So here and here to Valorant. And basically to Fortnite, for example, we have just 1 reflection, 1 point reflection. This part here, let me show the other. Here we have 2, but it's the old version. To the new versions, let me find, yeah, we have just 1 disc here, white disc, and the other parts it's just painted. So it's different. We need to think about it, which visual we can apply. But let me select here the reference and open it from Pempengal concept. It's very, very amazing. And let me close it. And let's go, let's do that. Of course, you can apply this technique for any character, any project. And well, let's go, let's do that. The first thing that I like to do is work with RGB, turn off the add, and we need to pick the color here. Let me see, let me bring this reference into the ZBrush. So here in texture we can import it, and I can load the reference, select the Pempengal PPG image and use this add to spotlight. And here I can select the opacity and increase it. Oops. Here. Yeah. And now I can just press C, letter C of chroma key, letter C, and I'm gonna pick this more dark color here. Can be. That's okay. Now I can press Shift Z, turn off the spotlight projection. But first, let me use the switch color, set white color, and apply it on this sphere. Let me see here. color fill object. But how I had an old material here, I need to activate this M letter, material channel, color, fill object, and now I can return to RGB. And I can work with layers too. So that's okay. Now I can switch the color and bring the dark color. So here, important point, it depends of your it depends of your style. So for example, if I want to make something more cartoon, or it depends more cute, for example, we're gonna work with this blur. It's not cute, but it's a different style. I like to use this cycle as a reference, and here I like to reduce the focal shift to negative to create more sharpened visual. Let me reduce a little bit. I don't want too sharp. Yeah, can be this one. Let me reduce a little bit more this transition. Of course, it depends to of the subdivisions, but it's enough. And I like to bring from this point here. And here we have this eye. It's a little big. So let me bring more or less until here. I try to find a good visual first here to this part, and that's okay. Maybe let me rotate a little bit the oil direction, but it's okay. So now I'm gonna press Shift Z, increase and select the inner color here, that it's more like a blue, little blue, something like that, and try to find. That's okay. I'm gonna create a new layer and try to bring here. Let me see, something more like that. Let me check. I can reduce to have a transition here, a better transition, how you can see. So I have this blur, this fading here, that give us a color variation. Seems that it's a color variation. It can be something like that. That's cool. So let me see. That's okay. And now I like to create the pupil here. So let me select. It's a more dark color, and the secret it's here. Let me reduce a little bit the focal shift, create something more smooth or not. Let me check. Yeah, it can be something like that. And the secret, guys, it's here. This part sometimes you're gonna make more up. So let me see. Yeah, it can be. Let me reduce a little bit. And here I spend a time trying to find the correctly visual that I want. That's okay. Don't worry. This part here, it's a little strange, but don't worry. Let me turn off the alpha. Also. That's okay, can be this way. And here, let me create other layer. In that I add this color, I can add a disk here. But the secret now, it's use this freehand. And let me turn off the focal shift and paint this region here. This is the secret. Let me switch color and set up black color. So this part here, it's all, we have this shadow here, for example. Let me create other layer, and we have basically this process here. this transition. So let me see here. Yeah, more or less on this way. This part here too. We can, let me press Ctrl Z. I'm gonna create other layer to this part. I like to work always with layers because I can control it then. So it's, for me, it's always good. Always good. So that's okay. Now I can control the intensity here. And same thing here. But that's okay. And of course, let me create other layer. Here, what I'm gonna do is add this brightness here. This part. So let me use the focal shift. And I wanna something more sharp on this region. So I can start with that. Bring this part. Then I can mix with other layer, a little more white. And I can make this transition here. I like too much to use this workflow for stylized characters because we can use here into the ZBrush and works well. We can see a preview. So how you can see I'm not doing this perfect cycle here. I am creating this noise, deforming it. I like to make this part something, and here I can bring a little more dark color here to create this transition here to break this part and create a fake depth here. So that's okay. And remember, I can reduce it here too. If I want, I can increase it a little bit more. So let me see. Let me keep it more active. And for example, we could create other layer, turn off symmetry, and bring with the drag rect alpha this highlight, for example, this way, and here, different regions, or make test here and here. We works too, but this part here, let me return to this. Let me remove this guy and return to this part here. Active the rack, press Ctrl Z, increase, active the rack to paint again, and let me select the color, and I'm gonna paint a little bit this region here. It's better. Yeah, it's not perfectly, of course. If we want, we could create other elements and make a lot of changes and things. Here, for example, variations and all these stuffs. It's very, very cool. We can make these things and play a little bit with the reflection and variations here. So let me. The cool part on, for example, on Substance Painter, we can change the colors and test the variation, so it's very good. So let me make these little parts here. That's okay. And if we want, we can smooth it too. Can hold Shift, RGB, and smooth a little bit. This one or this one here. So we can smooth a little bit if we want. Let me return to skin shading, and it's always important we active the render properties, wax preview, and set here more or less 12 or 15. This transition, and now I can turn off this guy, and if I want I can add other color here, more white, and let me set a blue tone, more white, and more sharpen here. Let me select the alpha off, and I can pass here more strong. That's okay, and can reduce the intensity here just to play a little bit with that. Let me check. That's cool, and now I can append can be a circle here, circle or cycle. Let me select white color, press Ctrl D, scale, color fill object, and I can bring here. Remember, it's more to get a preview. It's not a final rendering, for example. Let me put here more or less. Can be here, and we can control it where we want. Can scale it to make different if I want. This way I can use the mirror and weld, or just duplicate it and move here to this direction. Let me see, and we can start from this point. It's very helpful and very cool. So other thing that we can do is duplicate that and scale it more or less on this way, and work with these reflection shapes to test. So we can duplicate, and I can send here because it's not symmetrical, remember that. So I can turn off this guy and this other, and we can also scale it to it's too large. Scale a little bit, yeah. Let me delete this one, duplicate this one, and it's a good point to start and work as a preview. I can merge down. Let me delete the lowers, the subdivisions here, and here the same thing. Geometry, do lowers, subtool, merge down, always okay. And I have these points, and now I can reset the pivot, and we can move back a little bit, more or less on this way. Let me make a mask. Can rotate this reflection here, so it's very cool. A simple thing. Of course, we could increase a lot of, make different visual. For example, to the aisle here, we could select the standard brush, select this alpha, and make this movement. Let me see here, layers. Let me create other layer. We could, for example, use the Z-add, turn off the RGB, and this part here we could move it. Let me select the alpha off, and we could set this port into this region here, for example, inner. So we have a lot of options here that it's very helpful for us. So little things that make we have more brightness here because the convex and concave, the cavity, the light. Of course, we could change the light direction here too. So how you can see, it's a good workflow to make tests and play a little bit with the things. Let me just select these eyebrows here and fill object, but because the wax modifier, we're gonna have a little more brown color. Let me use the move and increase a little bit this eyebrow. So I have this visual. Little things that make the difference. So well guys, how you can see we have this beautiful design for games worked well. And is it? I hope you have enjoyed it. Let me show you the process, geometry, layers. Let me turn off how it, and how you can see we have this visual, this technique. I like to create layers because you can see the difference. So for example, let me turn off the disk here too. Let me see, yes. So we have this visual, flat colors, and now we have added the first color, second, 30, the shadows from eyelids, from the eyelashes too. For Stylized that worked well. The bottom part of shadows too. The little brightness, little bit more shadows and more brightness, little bit more, basically 3 to 4, and here too a little bit more, and the cavity, and then here the highlight, how you can see. So this is the composition. Very cool. I like of this workflow, and I hope you have enjoyed it. You can apply it in your characters. Will be very useful for you. Okay, so well guys, how you can see we can get this visual here. It's very good. So I hope you have enjoyed it. Please like the video, comment, make suggestions. All the best for you, and remember, practice a lot of times, several times. Make different paintings, search the internet reference to the Stylized, to realist, and you can explore a lot using the layers and playing a little bit with that. Make different expressions. You can make something like a snake, something magical, visual. You can explore it, and of course, always it's important you have fun with that. So all the best guys, see you in the next tutorial. All the best, see you guys.